What's going on, guys? So I'm doing that was just a parody of the Trev Chan 2 or whatever, the Walking Dead guy, his video. He always says the same thing in the beginning of each video. What's going on, guys? He's like, just like whatever he's doing. So anyways, doing a review of The Force Awakens. It's a little late, but decided to go over a few things that I observed about the movie and what I thought about it. So as you can probably hear, I'm still pretty sick, like my last video. I've been off for 4 days. Now, I took off 4 days to do shit, but ironically, I got sick, but I didn't have any more sick time, so it kind of works out because I didn't have to go to work feeling awful. Anyways, I'm going to review this movie. So, I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. I kind of got burnt out on Star Wars after the whole prequel debacle and, just everything that was going on. And I wasn't really sure about a new Star Wars film. I was like, well, I'm going to see it for Harrison Ford because I'm a big fan. So I went and I quite enjoyed it. I would say I'd give it like 3.5 out of 5 if that's a normal review thing there. So I did have a few problems with it. Now, there's a lot of people that are criticizing the character of Rey as being like a feminist Mary Sue or whatever the fuck. I don't care, whatever. I think it's like, oh, that's shit stupid. And there's a few media outlets that have said that MRAs are complaining with. I haven't noticed any MRAs complaining. Of course, some of the left clumps everybody in together as far as whether or not they're men's rights or pickup artists or whatever. They clump everybody together, just like a lot of people on the right clump people together. Like, there might be an animal rights person, and then they're complaining about something, and then they're going to say, "Oh, it's feminist." It's kind of like equal to that, like someone just like conflating all this shit together, which is pretty stupid. So, anyways, I thought the whole thing. I think it was Return of Kings, which is what I call it is a neo pickup artist, or it's like neo-Nazi, neo whatever. It's not. Well, I'm not going to compare it to neo-Nazi, but it's like post pickup artist, post PUA, which is what I call like Rouge V or Return of Kings. It's after like the initial fad or whatever of the pickup artist thing kind of died down. There are these other guys that kind of pose themselves as kind of like this alternative to it, but they're also more edgy in a certain way, They're more controversial, and that's kind of their sales tactic, but they're not as scammy in a certain way because they're a little bit more transparent. They do these blogs, like Return of Kings, for example. So I don't really like a lot of that stuff because I happen to be into, or I've been in the past. I've been into more of the actual, original guys in that scene, in the original scene, and I think the original scene has a lot more to offer if you're careful and smart and don't get scammed and, find other means of getting the information, which there used to be a lot more. Anyways, this is totally off subject, but whatever. But, so Star Wars, well, let's just go into it. The prequels were really gaudy and tacky as far as their CGI goes, and I found that they tried really, George Lucas just had too much control. Revenge of the Sith is probably the best of the 3 prequels, and I thought that was actually decent. It's the only one I own, actually, of the prequels is Revenge of the Sith. So the first 2 were, they're maybe guilty pleasures to watch once in a while, but, I think they're pretty shitty overall. Now, the new one corrected a lot of the making of the film was a lot better with less CGI, more practical effects, but it just felt better watching it. It was more, it's like listening to an old vinyl compared to like some like really shitty early 90s pop compact disc, or on it ripped to MP. It's like ripping that to like a really shitty early 2000s MP3 versus a vinyl. That's what the prequels would be, like that shitty MP3. And then the Force Awakens would be like the vinyl, if that makes any sense. It just had a better feel to it. Now, the dialogue was a lot better than the prequels as well. I thought that was well done. And for the most part. I mean, there were a few things. I mean, there was the character of Poe that came back or whatever. He didn't die. That was a little bit of a plot hole because they didn't really go into that, or it was just a little bit unknown what the hell happened to him. It was kind of silly. So my main, this is a spoiler review, by the way. I'm going to probably post that on my, that it is a spoiler one. So my whole problem was the final third of the film where they attack yet another Death Star, and it's just a bigger Death Star, you know. And the problem is this is one thing that I've been reading up on, and I've actually gotten kind of an interest in reading more of this kind of stuff, which is known as what was known as the expanded universe before Disney took over Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and everything. So the expanded universe has a lot of things that they claim, Disney and Abrams and all that. I don't know about Abrams said this, but they claim that the expanded universe is no longer relevant, no longer canon and all this stuff. But yet they found a way to kind of take a lot of the elements of the expanding universe. This is my main criticism of Force Awakens, by the way. So, for example, Han Solo has a son that turns to the dark side in the expanding universe, and there's a twin sister, that the guy has, and they fight at the. I haven't read all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I've just been reading synopsises of it. I'm starting some of the novels though, just because I don't know. For some reason, it did trigger a newfound interest in Star Wars, even if it's from this weird, cynical point of view in me. So that was a problem. And then the Starkiller base. There wasn't a Starkiller base in the expanding universe, but there was the that ship, and I forgot the name. I can't think of the name right now, but it destroyed an entire star system. So there were other elements too from the expanded universe, and I can't remember so Kylo Ren had a very similar getup as Darth Revan, I believe that's how they pronounce it. I'm not totally sure, from the expanded universe, from the Knights of the Old Republic and all that. So they took a lot of these different elements. On Walking Dead, for example, coincidentally, I'm going to talk about that. On Walking Dead, they will remix elements from the comics, and it's Robert Kirkman who's involved. It's well known that he's involved in this, somewhat involved in the series, and it's from his source material. Now, in Force Awakens, they took these elements from the expanded universe without I don't know if it was coincidental or they actually did on purpose, without, acknowledging where they came from, or they remix these elements from the expanding universe into Force Awakens. It's just my belief that they did that after reading all this. There's too many coincidences. I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but that's my main criticism of it. It was overall a very well made movie. As far as like the sometimes I'll do stuff against some of modern feminism. As far as all those criticisms, I'm just like, whatever, it's fucking stupid. I just don't even want to go there. It's just dumb. I'll give you an example. So, even in the original Star Wars, it's well known that Leia had the Force, and they said that, several times. They mentioned that. So was George Lucas a radical feminist by saying that? I don't think so. It's fucking stupid. Anyways, anybody that criticizes the movie because of that is just dumb. That's just fucking retarded. Now, was there a push to have a female lead at some point with the discussions and negotiations or whatever? Some of the dialogue geared towards that, I don't know. I can't answer that. But overall, I don't think it's a relevant point. I think the main part of the problem with the movie is the expanded universe stuff that they took, whether knowingly or unknowingly, or whether or not it was coincidental. So that's my main criticism. Overall, it was really good. It was the best movie since Return of the Jedi, for sure. And Revenge of the Sith being an okay addition to the canon. And I haven't read a lot of the novels, so I'm going to explore the expanded universe just because I'm interested, especially since, there's part of me that likes things that are, have been like kind of abandoned, and, it's kind of it's almost like a rebellious thing to like, oh, the expanded universe is no longer relevant, or it's known as Legends or whatever. Disney's going to reissue the books, I guess, but possibly. But anyways, that's all for my review, and hope you enjoy and subscribe.